Hey bees, I'm Marie from Humblebee and Me, and today we are making a Christmas tree whipped body scrub. So for this one we start with a base of a surfactant paste of SCI, Amphosol CG, and SLSa, which will give us a gorgeous lather, but the paste on its own is, not really the sort of thing you want to just be like putting straight on your skin. A little strong and kind of like sticky. So we had some other great stuff to that. We had some rich shea butter and some safflower oil, some moisturizing glycerine, but a stearic acid to give it some structure, and then we can whip the ever-living daylights out of that and end up with this really cool, like, whippy, soft, spongy body scrub. And of course, it's not really a scrub without some kind of scrubbing ingredients. So in keeping with our Christmas theme, I'm using some really pretty Vita Burst beads from Windy Point in green and gold. So the base is white, the beads are green and gold, and it looks like Christmas. For scent, you can use either an essential oil blend or a fragrance oil. I've got more details about that in the blog. So if you go down to the description box and click through to this post on my blog, humblebeeandme.com, you'll find lots more information there, not only about scenting options, but also about scaling, substitutions, shelf life, where to buy ingredients, and a whole lot more. So come on, let's get started. So we're going to begin by combining all of our ingredients that we need to melt in a small, deep bowl. Now we will be whipping the scrub right in here. So you want to make sure that the bowl you choose is suited to whipping and also that it is heat resistant. So I've already weighed out our surfactants and our glycerin in here. So we have a 25 grams of a pre-prepared paste, that's this blob there, of sodium cocoisethionate and Cocamidopropyl betaine, and I will provide more information about that in the description box below. Go down there, click on the link through to the blog, everything will be there. And then we have 7 grams of SLSa, which is not the same thing as SLS, and 22.25 grams of vegetable glycerin. And to that, we're going to add 10 grams of stearic acid, 12 grams safflower oil, and 10 grams refined shea butter. And to melt this together, I'm going to set it over this little pan of water. It just kind of hovers in there nicely, and I'm going to go put this on the stovetop over medium heat for about half an hour to melt everything through. This is not going to become uniform, but you'll be looking looking to make sure that you can't see any little beads of stearic acid and no like solid blobs of shea butter. Once everything is melted, you can remove the bowl from your water bath, and we're going to want to let it cool. This is cooled most of the way already. So the first thing I'm going to do is add our water, and then we'll give it a sort of the first beating. So we are going to need 9.75 grams of distilled water. It's still a little warm, but it's not hot, so we can keep going. And so I did take this off the heat probably about half an hour ago and let it cool. So, make sure you're sort of aware of that timeline. So we're going to start by preparing some of our cool down ingredients now. So I'm just going to put this scale away because it's not precise enough for what we want. So this scale goes down to 0.01 grams, which is great. So we're going to start by measuring our fragrance and our preservative into this little dish. So on the blog version of this recipe, I use essential oils, and so for the video I'm using a fragrance. If you are curious about the essential oil version, please go down to the description box and click through to the blog. But we're going to need half a gram of fragrance, and the one I'm using today is called Balsam Cedar, and I picked this up from Windy Point soap making here in Calgary, but it is, I believe, a Crafter's Choice brand fragrance, so it should be pretty easily available. And then we're going to need half a gram of liquid germall plus. So once we've got that, I'm going to scoop a little bit of our base into this little thing and stir it around and then transfer it back. We're also going to weigh out our Vita Burst beads. So I've got them in green and in gold, which seems sort of very fittingly Christmassy to me. So we're going to measure out 1.5 grams of each color. I'm going to whip the base for a while here. What we're looking for is for it to become white and fluffy. Right now, it definitely still looks kind of clumpy and also a little bit sort of translucent-y, so we want it to become white. So I'm just gonna take a little swap here from the side where it hasn't really been whipped, and then the bit that has been whipped, and you can see a huge difference between whipped and not whipped. So that's kind of the difference that we're going for, and make sure you are scraping down the sides of your bowl so everything gets a nice thorough whipping. All right, now that that's all whippy, we can mix in our Vita Burst beads. And that's kind of that for the whippy making part, so we're ready to put this in our container. Like, check that out, isn't that so cool? This actually really reminds me of, you know, those dipping frostings that you would get with something like Dunkaroos, which, you know, my parents pretty much never bought me because they were super unhealthy, but, you know, all the other kids on the playground had them, and this is what I remember the dipping icing looking like. So for packaging, I have this little 100 milliliter plastic jar from Humblebee. So Ivan gifted that to me, so thank you, Ivan. But I do love these jars. I've also bought them because they're great, and you can get them in black and white. And I kind of thought that white was a good option for this very festive looking scrub. So kind of want to just gently transfer it over. We don't want to, you know, squish out all that whipping that we just spent a bunch of time doing. I just wanted to take a moment to show you how it lathers up. So I've got some of the beaters here, and get a little bit of that on my hands, and get a little bit of water going on here. Yeah, with a decent amount of water, I didn't grab quite enough that first time there, you get this really gorgeous slip and kind of low lather going on, and you can definitely feel those little Vita Burst beads doing their scrubby jobs. But yeah, that's pretty darn cool. I really like it. And there you go. You just made a Christmas tree foaming whipped body scrub. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, and do remember to go down to the description box below this recipe and click through to find it on my blog, where you'll find a lot more information, including information on scaling, substitutions, and shelf life, as well as links to all of the ingredients. So thanks so much, and I'll see you next time.